hello there, dear travelers. It's I, Altered Layer, the star inhabiting the abandoned space station, and today we have a special stream, and I am joined by two sea creatures. You wanna introduce yourselves?
Okay,
Shall I go first?
You go ahead. Jake.
Sure. Okay. Yaha, I'm Jade, Celestia Dragon who throws mobs on the stars and owns a tea house by the shore, and I'm super happy to be here today. Yahoo!
Yahoo! Okay, horse.
I'm Spectre. I'm the Kelpie that accidentally became the literal horseman of death after consuming the previous.
Oh.
You know, just cutie, innocent and stuff. Oopsie. Oopsie. But yeah, today we have like a special stream because we're starting up the birthday week, even though we are not having a stream on the 21st probably. But today I'm explaining to these two how to make visual novels. There will not be a slide about music. If we want to discuss music, Zephyr can handle that because Zephyr is the person that deals with music in the visual novels that I make. Hello, welcome to the stream, Denga. Oh yeah, so I will give a little note for music thing. It is recommended for the file to be an OGG, I believe it's called. Because if you have music that loops and you have an OGG file, it makes it so it doesn't like have like a little like pause before it restarts. It's just continuous. Well, if you do like MP3 and well, if you want to have a continuous thing, you use OGG. It's just like what? Like, anyways, my first slide, like I said, made an index.
Wow.
As a professional, we have an index. So I completely forgot to make a slide on publishing. That's my bad.
Oh no!
It's fine. It's fine. We will discuss that. It's easy. Don't worry. We will be talking about first, like, what is Rampai? Technically, I think the appropriate pronunciation is Rampai because it comes from Python, like the coding language Python. So technically it's Rampai, but I'm Spanish and I will call it Rampi.
See?
Then we'll be talking a little bit of the writing aspect, bit of the art aspect, some scripting stuff, and like important things to note. And we will mention the publishing thing, even though I forgot to make it into a slide.
It's okay, we adapt.
But what is Rampai? What is this thing? It's a visual novel making engine. Despite that, you can gut the shit out of this engine and just do fucking anything, basically. Like Doki Doki Literature Club made entirely in Rampai, and if you know, like the shit you can do, yeah, that one had to be like they had to completely gut the engine and basically just like rebuild it to be able to do a lot of the stuff that the game can do. A Date with Death is also a Rampai game. At least the last time I checked, I'm pretty sure it's a Rampai game. I might be spreading misinformation, but last time I checked, I'm pretty sure it's a Rampai game.
It's okay, we love spreading misinformation on the internet.
Decentra, my beloved, my 2024 game of the year was made on Rampai. Bar of the Deep, don't worry, that's not an important game. The Bar of the Deep, that's just a game that exists. It's just a visual novel. Yes? Yes. As for resources, Rampai has like really extensive documentation. So if you have a question, you can just check the documentation on the official site and it will probably answer your question. And if your question isn't answered, the forums, the Rampai forums are like, they're still active actually. So if you have a question, either someone has already asked it, or you can ask it yourself and someone will answer, or like you can always just go on the subreddit. And then as for YouTube channel, one I used a lot was Vimy. That was like the main YouTube channel I used for a lot of the more like technical aspects of Ren'Py, like the changing the UI, even though I didn't fully implement it, because I will say UI changing, like the images, is kind of hell on earth, because they're not labeled in a way you would expect them to be labeled. Like, oh, what's the button? Like, what image do I have to change so that the buttons in the game change? Oh, there must be an image called button, and that's what I have to change. No, it's not called that. Like, the only ones that are named intuitively is like the menus. Those ones have like intuitive names. The other ones, you kind of just have to stare at the image and like be like, oh, this looks like this part of the UI, or you follow a tutorial from Vimy. They have like a full UI tutorial, which is what I followed. I never implemented because I ran out of time, because my game was by all intents and purposes a game jam, so I didn't have the time. But onto the writing aspect, there's not really much I can say about the writing aspect, honestly, because like everyone has their own writing. I do recommend using ellipsis because it is free, it is anti-AI, and I think it's very neat. It's not the one I use Google Docs for Bar of the Deep, but I'm currently using ellipsis for my 2 new visual novels. It's still like in the early stages, so there's a lot of features that are missing. So my recommendation is that if you want to keep everything in a single file, you can create like drafts and just name those like for the outline, etc., or like to keep track of characters. I will say a few things to keep in mind with the writing of visual novels is that while they do follow the script guidelines of like you're writing like a script for like a movie or a play, right? You still have to implement a little bit of like traditional novel writing, as the name would imply, of a visual novel, right? Mostly for, well, the scene, like setting the scene and stuff like that. Not necessarily for saying this character said this character said that, because that plus emotions are already said in the game themselves with the like text box that has the name box, right? Or the character sprite. Unless you want to really like emphasize the emotion of the character. I haven't really seen it be like mentioned in the dialogue themselves, because it's, at the end of the day, it's visual. So a lot of the things that in a novel you would have to describe, you don't have to describe it in the game itself. So like setting the scene, you have a background, so you don't necessarily have to give too much time to setting the scene, outside of like setting the scene in the sense of like it's a gloomy day, it's late at night, etc. Like things that the player isn't going to infer from just looking at your background image. And obviously like obviously this is like things that like if you want to describe the scene in its entirety, including things that can be seen in the background already, like nothing is stopping you. Like at the end of the day, it's your game and you can describe it however you see fit. But it's like things more so like, hey, if you don't know how to describe your scene, it's okay. Like you don't have to worry that much about those aspects. Like the most important parts.
Remember, the player has eyes.
Exactly. Like the most important parts at the end of it is like the dialogue and stuff like that. Another writing thing, I guess, is if you want to do like dialogue choices and branching dialogue. That's a lot to keep track of, to be fair. But my biggest recommendation is that if the choices are gonna have like their own dialogue little bit, like after you make a choice it has like a little bit of dialogue and then the story continues and each choice has its own like dialogue. My biggest tip for that is just try to finish it in a way that's like similar for all three, so that when it comes back to like the main like story part, it like flows properly. And it can just be something like, oh, each character gets given a glass, they take a sip, and they put the glass down. And like there might be some comments said between those actions, but all of them finish by putting the glass down, and therefore when you go back to like the main storyline again, like it flows correctly. Like character A puts the glass down, this happens. Character B puts the glass down, this happens, you know? Just to not make it feel like, oh, I just went into a completely different branch of the story and suddenly got pushed back into like the main branch, you know? As for the art, make sure the height of your character sprites is consistent. Like the canvas size, make sure the height is the same. I am talking from personal experience. If you do not make the size of the height of the canvas the same, the game will go kind of fucking bonkers.
Oh no.
And it will make your sprites look incredibly uneven. Like some of them will look huge, some of them will look tiny as hell. Like sizing wise, like length wise, that doesn't have to be identical between all the canvases, but the height does have to be the same.
Yeah, I pretty fondly remember watching you freak out over something.
Yeah, that's why I had to like redraw my sprites basically. Other than the fact that I rushed all of them in 4 hours. Also, that said, do keep the lengths, the widths smaller than your game window. Like, I would say like almost like to a considerable degree. So like if your game is like 1800, like 1920, 1800, just make sure the length of that is less than that by like, I think, I mean probably like if you keep the lengths at like 500 pixels, I think that's enough. That's more than enough, and you can always just make the lengths smaller if like the sprite isn't really big. I do like recommend starting with like a lengthy sprite in case you want to make your character have poses where like the arms are out, like a very big pose, very like stuff like that, so that you are able to have it and you don't have to be resizing your canvas every time you draw a new sprite. And yes, I am talking about this in personal experience because I have this issue in the current update of Part of the Deep, and I don't know if I will fix it because it pains me. Because if you don't have the widths a little bit small, like considerably smaller, your characters do not move properly left to right. Like when you want your character to go to the right side of the screen, the game will kind of be like, well, this is the size of the canvas you're giving me. I can't move it further than that, you know? So just keep those things in mind. Like the most important thing is just character sprite height needs to be the same for all sprites, or else they will start going fucking bonkers.
What height do you recommend?
Height, it kind of depends on the size of the game. But probably like I'd say like 200 to 400 pixels less than the height of your game window. Probably, like, and you can kind of fiddle around with that. Like, I recommend, if you're unsure of how it's gonna look, just do like a really like a stick figure, basically. Slap it into the game and then just look how it sizes in the game and be like, okay, I need to make this smaller, I need to make this bigger. And like, you are able to make the canvas like bigger, and this is something like I'm bringing up as well for the backgrounds, but you can make them larger than the size of the game, because there is code to like resize it and not lose the quality.
Oh.
So there's that. That said, probably not a good idea for like your first game, because it might break stuff. You not I say this with a lot of love and not as a dig, but one visual novel that I am a backer for and I'm watching, and therefore I'm like watching the development of, is Lost in Limbo. And I've played the demo and stuff like that, right? Renpai is so finicky with you messing with the like location of sprites that your sprite might just start fucking floating.
Oh, I remember that.
So like, and that's when you start to put in like XY coordinates to your sprite. So that's why I'm saying, like, for your first game, try to stick to like the simplest stuff of just like add left, add right for movement stuff, basically. If you don't write an add left or add right, the game will automatically put your character in the middle, by the way. And then with like the backgrounds, like I said, you can make them bigger because you can resize with code. And making the background bigger, that often you mostly see it when you want it to appear like the background is moving. Because that is, again, that is something you can code in and make it like move from here to there, like upper corner, and like move it to like the lower corner and stuff like that. That is something that you can do with code. And it is something I am considering learning for one of my visual novels, mostly just for the endings bit, but I might just make multiple backgrounds and just have the thing that is meant to move just as like each image the thing moves by itself like that, so I don't have to deal with the code. Because listen, the less you have to fiddle with code, the better. You will love your life so much more. Which brings us to code scripting.
Ooh.
It uses Python. I
As the name would suggest.
am not the number one guy who you should go to for Python questions. Because yes, I am in uni for game development. We use C#. We do not use Python, so all the Python stuff I know is self-taught and just staring at a tutorial until it makes sense. I can share tutorials, I can mention stuff, but like more in-depth Python stuff, I probably won't be able to give a like great explanation even if I know how to do it. Because again, I'm still actively learning Python as I go. Which is also why I mentioned, like, for your first game, try to keep it simple. Don't go crazy mode. Don't try to make your character start, like, moving around the screen, like, from left to right continuously, because your character's gonna start floating off into the sky. That said, though, like, the basic parts, very easily. Like, for the character, it's define, and then you're gonna want to put a letter or a number or like a string of characters that are going to be equal to the name of your character. And then it's like, so it's like define D equals character parentheses, Dorina, in quotation marks to indicate that to the code that that is the full name of the character, comma, and then color equals quotation marks and the color thing. The Visual Studio, if I remember correctly, it's Visual Studio, which is the coding program that Ren'Py basically suggests when you launch it, as like hey, we suggest that you use this program to do your code in. When you put in a color code, you are able to also color pick from like a color wheel as well. So if you're not able to like get the hex really precise for whatever reason, because maybe Google just happens to not want to show you the color picking wheel for some reason, not speaking from experience or anything, you are able to edit it in the program itself and it'll update the hex code. And then when you go into the game itself, and you want your character to speak, you just type in D and then quotation marks, and you type in the text of what your character is saying in the quotation marks. And then it'll show as the character, like you'll have the name pop up where the name box is meant to appear, and it'll appear and their text will appear. And for not having the name box, you just do quotes. I'm gonna have to double check if it's singular or double, because I know double quotes is for character speak, and I believe singular quote is for non-character speak, but I will have to double check. Okay, other things that are important is labels. And labels just tells the program, so when you open Ren'Py and you launch the code for the script, Ren'Py already has like a base thing done, and it gives you comments explaining like, hey, this thing means this, hey, this thing means that. So like that's also why I recommend Ren'Py a lot, because it's very beginner friendly despite the shenanigans that you can get into. And one of the first things you'll see is label start, and that is telling the game where to start. So like the game will start from wherever label start appears, and then it will end where it says once it reaches label end, and the game will end there. That is already implemented in the base script that Ren'Py gives you when you make a new game, so you don't have to worry about that. I still bring up labels because if you want to, let's say, and this plays into many choices as well, right? But let's say you want to have like the code for a specific scene, or you want to like divide the chapters into like their own little script files. In the like main script, you can have a jump clause, which says jump and then the name of the label, and that label you put it in that new script and you put label and then let's say like chapter 1. So then in the main script you have jump chapter 1, and the game will automatically, like once it reaches that, it'll jump to that label in that other script that you have. And it's a way of dividing your scripts so that if something breaks in one script, it doesn't like break like your entire game, you know? Like you're able to more easily identify issues if like something breaks in chapter 1, right? Sure, you can just scroll in like the main script, you can just scroll a little bit and find it. But if like there's like 5 chapters and something breaks in chapter 5, you're gonna have to scroll all the way down to chapter 5 to find what breaks, you know? That's a lot of code there. So doing the label jump thing permits you to separate them into their own script files, and therefore if something breaks in chapter 5, you can just go into that script file and find it easier. And it's the same with like endings, for example. I did not do that for Bar of the Deep. This is just a whole thing of like, do as I say, not as I do. Because I did not do it in Bar of the Deep, mostly because I was lazy. Because I didn't feel like making a label jump for it. But for example, like once you get to the ending, you can just have like jump to ending 1, for example. And it's the same story. And playing into like endings and stuff like that, the next like big like programming thing that you might want to use in your visual novel is like the choices, right? Like give player choices, or to decide what something has to happen, etc., right? Like get a different dialogue. And with that, you use the menu, which is really easy. Just write menu, column, and you press enter, and then you write in like your first choice, and you write in like your second choice, and you write in like your third choice. It's really simple code. And that's what it is basically, so that when your player gets to that part, it'll have like as many choices as you wish for to appear. And then the player will click like, let's say, a character is like, oh, do you want to go to the party? And like you give the choice of yes, or you give the choice of no, you know? And then in those choices, you can have like either like a jump label to take you to the scene of the party, or, and this is more so when you start getting choices that can impact the ending, you can then use those choices to determine the ending of the game, like what ending the player's gonna get depending on the points they earn, for example. And for that, you use the $sign. Like at the start of your game, you do like the $sign, and you apply basically the way I have it with Bar of the Deep is I have like $sign, meal points equals 0, and I have that with like all of the love interests, the 3 love interests. And then when you get to the menu choices, you basically do like for meal, like this choice is meant to give meal points, so I would just do like meal points plus 1, like plus, and that means that by choosing that, the player gets 1 point for that. And then at the end, I just was an if-else statement. You just put like, if meal points equals 3 and the other 2 love interest points are less than 3, for example, right? Then the player will get the meal ending. And it's the same with like all the other endings, basically. And if you want to have like I have with Bar of the Deep, where like if you get less than 4 points in all of the girls, you get like the true ending. I just have that with an else statement, basically, to make things simple, which I gotta show you later the absolute insanity that I had to figure out how many points were needed to get each ending, and therefore how many choices I had to write in, because I was like, okay, what is like the max amount of points a person can get for a character? Okay, it's this amount. Is it possible to get like the same amount of points for 2 characters? I'm like, oh my god, yes it is. Okay, but I don't want that. I want it. So like when you start to get into different endings, probably best recommendation is just to have 2 if you're gonna do multiple endings, because it's easier. Because you can just be like, points above X, good ending, points below X, bad ending. And you make your life easy. Again, code, simplify. Lovely. You simplify stuff, it's beautiful. So important things to note, right? Ren'Py might just not be the engine for you. There's like so many different engines for visual novels that Ren'Py might not just be the one for you. Like, one that I wanna try out, and I might try out for like one of my visual novels that I'm working on, is light.vn. And the way it works is that it's all like on screen. So like when you edit the code, it directly shows it on screen. So if you rely a lot on visuals, light.vn might be the one for you. Because the thing with Ren'Py is that you write the code, you save it, and then you launch the game to test if the code works. And it's a lot of back and forth like that. So it might make things like kind of tedious, kind of complicated because of that. Other things, get free images for backgrounds. Just get free images. You don't wanna draw like an entire forest. Just look up a free licensed forest picture, or go take a picture of a forest if you have one nearby.
Touch grass.
You could go touch grass, get a picture of a forest, you know? Go take a break. And yeah, those are like biggest like important things to know. And then obviously, like I keep saying, simplify your code. It's your first game. Simplify your game. A good free image bank is Unsplash. Yes, thank you, Denga. Right, Unsplash is a good image bank for things. So yeah, and like if you want to make the image like not appear like super weird compared to like, you know, you have your character sprites all drawn pretty and stuff, and then your background image is a whole ass photograph, like just put a filter on it. Just put a filter on it. just slap a filter on it. That's it. There you go. There you go. That's your background. You don't have to worry about it, especially if you decide that your first game has to be a game jam. Don't overcomplicate your life. Love yourself. Make things simple.
Love you.
And before we get on to the like questions and stuff, I'll mention the publishing thing that I forgot to make a slide for. Publishing, like my recommendation, publish on itch. I think there's a couple other ones that work similar to itch, and those sites might work best for you depending on what your game is, especially with like recent issues that happened on itch because of payment platforms and stuff like that, like caused a lot of issues with games on itch, right? Yeah. But like publishing, like with Ren'Py, it's just you just press the button that just says like export project or like publish project, and then you just click on the builds that you want to do. I recommend Windows, Linux, and Mac. And just kind of, and then you will get, for Windows and Linux, it'll be the same folder, and for Mac it'll be its own folder. And basically on itch, when you make the page, you like name your game, you give it your little description and stuff like that, and then you, if you want your game to be played on the website itself, that is something that you can have Ren'Py build your game for web. That is an option. Or you can just make it so that your game is only downloadable, and in which case, like either way, you just put up the files, like those folders that Ren'Py makes for you. You just click like the one that's for Mac, you upload that, you upload the one for Windows, Linux, and you have it, and then you just launch your page, and that's it. It's not a big like real process, you know, it's really simple. And the reason I primarily recommend itch is because on Steam, not only does your game have to be put through a process of like whether Steam is going to agree to have to host your game or not, you also have to pay $100.
Oh.
You have to pay to host your game. pretty sure it's regardless of whether your game is free or paid. So
Ooh.
if you're a broke ass college student, just publish on itch. Because on itch,
Is it like a one-time payment, or is it to keep it up?
I think it's a one-time payment.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard of it being like a yearly payment or anything like that. I feel like if it were yearly, I feel like a lot more people would talk about it.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, Steam, like, yeah, obviously publishing on Steam is a pretty big thing, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot more casual players are going to find your game on Steam than on itch. But it's not worth it. It's not worth it if you don't have the money for it, because at the end of the day, it's a risk, you know? And if you don't have the $100 to just spend and be like, I may never see this money, like I may never break even because it's my first game, no one fucking knows who I am. I just recommend doing it on itch, especially like because on itch you're able to set your game up in a way that you can either give it like completely for free, you can have it so it's free but like pay what you want basically, so like people can get it for free, but if they want they can donate to you, right? Or you can actually sell the game, right? And I also recommend itch because like you can sell more than just games on itch. Like you can sell books as well, and like for example if you make the music for your game, stuff like that, like you could also like publish that on itch to be sold and all that. And it's a lot less restrictive than with Steam, because like with Steam, if you want to sell like an art book or like the music track, like it has to be a DLC. It has to be connected to a game already that is published, you know?
Oh.
So that is another reason. Like if you're starting out, I recommend itch. And
how much does itch take, like as a fee for when you're selling stuff?
You're able to edit that.
Oh.
So if you want, you could, by all technicalities, have it so it's 0%.
Damn.
I think the base that it's like set up by default, if I remember correctly, I believe it's like 20% that it takes. But yeah, that's like, but by all technicality, you can have itch take like 0% of your sale revenue if you really wanted to. Now, comments, questions,
Sushi.
concerns. Concerns don't include the sushi or the fact that we have a fish with us. Don't worry about that.
No, my cousin, why did you do that?
So we got plenty of time, so we have plenty of time to ask questions, and I can also pull up code as well and showcase that as well if needed.
Shyly raises his hand.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not really familiar with coding and stuff because I only did like very, very basic stuff that was totally unrelated to games. Does Rempi have a visual cue to give you a clue of where the mistake is? Like, I don't know, putting the code on red or something? Okay, oof.
Yeah, that's a thing with like all the programs basically.
Oh, amazing.
Hold on, I'm closing now because I'm gonna pull up code that I have for my game so you can see a little bit more of what I'm talking about with the code and stuff. So give me a second. Let me launch the engine.
Take your time.
More like Rampy, take your time. Like, there's the one who has to actually do it. Mm-hmm.
Is your cursor Sunday?
Yes.
Yes, because I noticed, but I had to like bite my tongue and be like, no, you can't be excited about this. You're in the middle of a class.
Like, you don't nerd out about it yet. No, you can nerd about the little bird boy now.
Sorry, I was reading and stuff because I just updated Rempa and I haven't launched something, and I also have like a different Visual Studio code, a Visual Studio thing. Because I have one. Okay, it has apparently it has to. Can you launch the fucking script? MP, I love you, but you make things so difficult
Bullying your
sometimes.
Rempy.
Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, let me see. I think this is the one. There we go. Okay. And let me share with you guys so you can also see and you're not wondering what the hell's going on. Okay. This is the code for the actual game. So this just contains the entirety of the game here, basically. So here you can see what I talked about was the label. Like label start right there. They're like label start and column, and you will get that. And the game will start there. That's automatically implemented in the code. And like I mentioned, see? Rempy like automatically gives you comments basically being like, hey, this is where you should declare this. This is where you should declare that. This is where you're gonna wanna define like your characters, right? This is also where you will define if you have persistent data. And persistent data is that thing that you asked me about in DMs, Jade. It's the thing that the game remembers previous game files. To do that, you basically have to, like for persistent data, you have to, hold on, let me look up the name exactly. If I can find it in my notes. Where the hell is it? Am I blind? Where is it? Oh, there it goes. Persistent data. So you'll write like default. You'll write like default, and then you'll name that thing. Like you'll name default. You'll name that persistent data equal to this or that. Usually you're gonna want to just keep it like true or false to make things easier for you. But yeah, like I haven't played with persistent data all that much, so I can't really give a very good explanation on persistent data and how to use it, other than like persistent data is what makes the game remember if you've done this or if you've done that other thing. It's like, for example, if you have like multiple endings and then you have like a secret ending that you can only get if you've got those multiple endings, you would use that persistent data to keep track of that. And then like, for example,
it's like a little bit complicated.
Yeah, like it's definitely one of the more like, not like super complicated, right? Considering everything else, but it's definitely one of the more like complicated aspects, in my opinion, if you're like starting out and this is like the first time you're coding in your life. It's definitely one of the more like complicated aspects. Other like coding things, as you can see here, this is how I have to keep track of the code for the ending stuff. Like I said, the little question mark, another question mark, the $sign, and then I like have it set as like Mio point equals 0, and I have it with all the other girls. And like if I wanted these points to be consistent throughout all the files, then I would have written it, like I mentioned, with the persistent data over here, like beneath the character part. And then other like big important code word is scene. that is gonna be the background of your game, basically. So you write scene and you write the name of the image that is meant for your background, and it'll show that image, right? And then you just do double quotation marks for both the text of just the game, like narration basically, and for when you're talking about like a character. And for that, again, like I mentioned earlier, you put the character defined letter, and so that the game knows. It's just an easy way so that you don't have to be writing like the character's full name every single time, you know. You can just type in the letter and that's it. And then to like show the character sprite, you just write show, and you write the name of the character sprite that you want to showcase. And if you want to hide the character sprite, you just write hide, and then you put the character sprite name again. And then at left and at right, it'll showcase as it implies on the left and on the right of the screen. Unless you fuck up the sizing like I did.
Yeah.
In which case the game will kind of be like, hey buddy, I don't know how you want me to move the sprite to the left when like this size is too big. I don't know what you want me to do. There's not a lot of space I can move it to, you know? But yeah, it's pretty much like that. And then if we want to get to ending stuff here, right? For example, oh yeah, don't worry about that name thing because it's not mine.
Okay, just wanted to let you know.
No, it's
in case it
not
was
mine.
mentioned.
It's just weird computer stuff. It's not mine at all, so it's not a worry. That's why I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know but it's not mine, so no worries about that. But yeah, see, like for example here with the choice menu, like we have like menu, and then we have each question is defined with like the quotation marks and then a column to determine each choice, and then inside of it you can write in what you want to be said. And like at the start here I have it, for example, that if you chose this, you get a point for this character, and if you chose this other thing, you get a point for here, and plus equal 1, you get that point. And then if we want to get into the endings, like I mentioned, you just write an if-else statement as the easiest one, and you write if, and like for example this one would be Layla's ending. So like if you have more or equal to 4 points and the Mia points and VM points are under 4, you get that ending. And it's basically the same for like all the other endings, right? And then just an you can either do an else statement, or if you're worried that the point count might be a little off like I was, you can just like do another if statement for like the last ending, for example. And if you have like special ending thing, right? You can do, so you hide the like window hide, and then show the ending image. And if you write, so window hide, that hides the speech part, like the little thing that showcases where the characters speak, that little bubble at the bottom. If you write window hide, it'll hide that. And if you write then renpai pause, and you don't add a number, then like it'll stay with that image on screen until the person like clicks again, and then it'll like continue on with the code. So in this case, like it'll show the window again and it'll continue with the message. If you add a number, then that'll be like the amount of time that the game is paused before it continues with the game, basically.
In seconds or?
Yeah, in seconds.
Okay.
I believe you do like 0 point number for seconds.
Mhm.
And I might be wrong. But yeah, that's like the main like simple code stuff, you know? You don't have to bash your head against the wall to do that code, basically.
Okay. Do the yellow squares mean anything?
It's just the game, basically.
Ah. Okay.
It's just like the game being like, hey buddy, you have these dots here. You're aware that you have these dots here? And I'm like, yes, because I want an ellipsis there. Because the character's saying something and there's an ellipsis at the end. But yeah, that's like the main stuff. As you can see, there's no code in the game for music implementation because there is no music in the game. But it's pretty easy to like code in for music. It's just, where is it? Hold on. Like if you want music, for example, you would just write like play music and then the name of the music file, basically. And it'll keep with that music like the entire time until you tell it to pause or you change the music. So like implementing music in Ren'Py is very easy. And for like, if you want to add voice, it's just voice. That's just the name. So music is music, voice is voice, and sound is sound.
Does
So
the music need to be downloaded on your PC, or can you retrieve from like
it
online
has
videos
to
and such?
be in the files. So like
Okay.
in the Ren'Py files, you'll have like if you open the launcher, there'll be like a thing that says open directory and it'll have like game, base, images, audio. And like if you press on audio, it'll automatically open the folder where you have to like put in the music files in there or the voice files. It's the same with images. Like if you open the images folder, then you'll put in there. Personally, I have just all the images like there, all of them, like both the sprites and the endings and the background all together. But you can create folders. You just have to then make sure that you root the game to know that the image that you want is in X folder, which is just writing like the name of the folder / and then the name of the image, so that the game knows like, oh, I have to go into the image folder, and then in the image folder I have to go into the backgrounds folder, and that's where this image that is being called is located. And it's the same for like audio.
What file format do you recommend for stuff like in general? Does it accept all kinds of formats, or is there anything that gives less trouble?
I believe it accepts like all types of formats when it comes to images, but obviously PNG is just gonna be your best bet. As for audio, it accepts Opus, OGG, MP3, MP2, FLAC, and WAV. But WAV specifically is only the uncompressed 16-bit signed PCM. That's the only WAV version it accepts. Overall, I recommend, like I said, the OGG. Unless you're Zephyr, who likes the little pause. Speaking of, since we're talking about music and stuff like that, do you wanna share anything music related, Zephyr? Because you're the music person here.
I am the music person, but I am not the teaching person. I have no idea how to like put everything I've learned into a coherent statement for someone else to learn just yet. I'm so bad at teaching.
What would you recommend? Would you recommend asking your incredibly burnt out partner burned out for a music partner to make the tracks, and your partner agreed to make like tracks with multiple instruments, or would you recommend just looking for free music?
That's fucked up.
I'm asking a genuine question.
I would suggest the latter, but if you actually want to get into making music, actually learn music theory.
Mm-hmm.
Learn all the stuff you need to know. To fucking once again, I'm not good with instructions.
Music theory. Most important thing here. Yeah. You got any
What do you use for the music?
I will use for music, Zephyr.
As for digitally making music, I have not found a program that I don't absolutely despise using just yet.
Oh.
Because I'm an acoustic musician. I actually play the instruments. I'm one of those gig musicians that plays an instrument on a stage for a couple dollars per hour.
Yeah.
What?
Zephyrs a cellist.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
Why I'm asking Zephyr for like instrumentals for covers and stuff like that. I'm like, can you just make a cello version? Can you just make a cello version of this cover?
I mean, one thing I can do is listen and recreate things off of memory. So yeah, I can just make a cello version of the instrumental.
Yeah. Isn't he cool? Isn't the weird horse so cool?
Cool. Super cool. I love the cello. I love the cello playing horse.
Thank you.
I need you to understand, Jade. I know you said horse, but for a second I straight up thought you said whore, and I was like, oh.
No! I said horse.
No,
I
it's
know,
okay.
but I was like, for a second, I was like, oh, okay. Oh yeah, I see how it is.
Oh my god! Imagine, like I just got to meet for the first time, and then I'm immediately calling him a. No. I said horse.
It's okay. Altera would call me that, so I wouldn't have been offended.
That's so. I would never on stream.
On stream specifically, but off stream.
Off stream. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. It depends. Sometimes I go to Zephyr and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So it's fine. It's fine. I can say that I've known this motherfucker for over 5 years. Upstream, definitely exactly Lenga, you get it.
Oh, so now it's a definitely. Previously it was a maybe or I don't know, and now it's a definitely. Oh god.
It's okay. I don't need to blink to ask for help.
It's like, blink if you need help, your eyes go dry. Actually, do you wanna see how ellipsis looks like, maybe? Before we finish? Okay, hold on, let me decide which. Wait, I need to figure out which project I can show. Wait. I like that all my ellipses. All my ellipses. I'm not showing my fucking fanfics on stream.
On stream, off stream, definitely.
I'm just gonna make a new file. You're also mean to me. Hold on. Can my fucking sync type? There we go. Special stream file. There we go. Create. There we go.
I actually have a couple more questions for later.
Okay. Let me see. Can OBS see the fuck? Hello, OBS, sweetie. Sweetie, there you are. Thank you. And let me show it so you guys aren't lost. But this is ellipsis. Very cool. Look at ellipsis.
Ooh.
Hi, Nightbot! Oh my god, you live! It's still not fucking sending the thing you're supposed to send. Thank you, Nightbot, for not working. But yeah, so here, like, you write here. You know, you write. Keeps track of the words. You can do like sprints, like a focus mode. Bell. You can also change like the appearance if you want. Right.
Oh, that was a right.
Like format, outline, find, replace, like all common stuff. And here's what I was talking about earlier. You can create drafts. So like if you were to like write something on the main file and then you like create a draft, for example, let's say like outline, you will have the text that you wrote because it's meant to be so that you can edit what you've written, right? And then you can let me see, where's the here, compare changes. I am covering it up, but there's a compare changes button at the bottom for the people watching, and like you press it and you can see like your outline and like this basically. And you can still like type here to like visualize the changes as you write them. But yeah, I recommend it because like you can write the outline like either here or like probably like in the main file is probably a better idea. But like you can write the outline here, for example, and then you can do like the compare changes sort of thing, and you'll be able to see like the outline, right, and be able to write in it. And by all technicalities, you are able to like pull up an outline thing if you do like headers, and it'll show it here. But again, it's not like it'll all have to be then in like in the same document. So if you don't want to be like having like your massive document and then you can't do like a Control A and just copy paste, then just do the draft thing. They are saying that like there's gonna be like new features, like you're gonna be able to like have like chapters and stuff like that, but those are like future features and stuff like that. So it's like my main stuff. Okay, what did you wanna?
Does it have like a line limit?
Nope.
Oh, amazing.
It's basically like Google Docs, but it's it won't train AI on your work.
Yes. Wait, Google Docs does that?
Google Docs has a lot of AI issues, and there's also apparently like issues as well with like Google Docs just kind of like restricting access to files and stuff like that. Like I've seen people mention that, like post about how their file was like restricted or deleted by Google because the file apparently had like some sort of issue on it. Like it was like, oh, this like the AI like detected that this thing you were writing is like not allowed, you know.
What the shrimp?
It's
my yaoi. It's raining the AI. Oh no, I didn't know that. What the hell?
Yeah, Google Docs has like a lot of AI issues. So like if you really want to like separate yourself like from AI stuff, I recommend Ellipsis because it's the only writing platform I've been able to find that is A, completely free, and B, anti-AI. And it subsists from like donations and stuff like that, basically.
Oh, holy shrimp.
Because I was looking for other stuff because I was kind of considering of like maybe I should try some other sites, and I was like oh, maybe I should try like I should go back to Scrivener because I used to use Scrivener when I was younger, and apparently it's no longer free.
I remember watching this. You were like, you know what? I want chapters, and then you go to one thing, it's paid now. You go to another thing, it's paid now, and sucks even more. And you just run back to Ellipsis. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I want chapters and stuff like that. Oh yeah, Campfire, Lord Forge. Yeah, definitely Campfire and Lord Forge as well.
I just use my notes. I raw dog it. Okay, so what I wanted to ask is, so since you've been
Hold on
making
one second.
games...
Sorry, 1 second.
Whoa.
Feel free to ask the
Okay.
ask the question. Just I'll answer in a second.
Okay. So yeah, I would like to hear about, your personal experience, as in things like, if you could start over, what would you do differently? Or, I don't know, something that you did that you thought was a shortcut but ended up taking longer or not being worth it. Like, just experiences like that and tips that you would give to beginners. EP.
Okay, hi. Sorry, I'm back. Mama Lirio came into the room asking about stuff. I was like, ah. I was like, ah. Jump scare. Okay, so things. Don't do a game jam for your first game. Don't do that. If you have 0 experience, don't do a game jam. Love yourself. Don't do a game jam. Other things I recommend as a first time thing. Oh my god, basically so many of it is just stuff I did that you probably shouldn't do. Don't do, if you do a visual novel, don't do one that has 4 different endings. Maybe do only 2 endings at most. Maybe only have like 1 ending. Maybe the game it's just a story and it starts to finish, and like there might be some dialogue choices, but the ending is the 1 ending and that's it. That's it. That's all you get. That's the 1 ending. Just don't overcomplicate your life, you know?
So basically, love yourself.
Love yourself, yeah. that's
Like, I have the incident replaying in my head for every mistake you mention.
No, yeah, I definitely recommend, like, at the very least, if you want to be very, like, ambitious, don't do a game jam, probably. Because you're gonna end up fucking despising your game, and you're never gonna want to look at it again, and you're gonna be like, I don't fucking hate this. And then you're gonna look at your characters, and you're gonna be like, my babies, I'm sorry. I betrayed you.
And then you're like, whoever you're making the game with is just gonna be looking at you like, bruh.
Yeah. It's basically a lot of it is like, don't overcomplicate your life, basically. And like, I love game jams, you know? I think they're cool and fun, and they're a fun like challenge, you know? But it's definitely something that if it's like if it's the first time you make a game, like, oh, maybe you should do a game jam, because that'll like give you perspective on where to take your game and stuff like that. But I think it's definitely sort of saying where it's like, if you want to do a game jam as like your first thing, probably for like a visual novel especially, like probably just do it with like a story that is going to be dedicated to the game jam alone, you know? Like, enter a game jam that like has a specific theme that's not like a broad topic. Like, it's like the game has to be about this, like the topic has to be like horror, you know? Like, it has to be horror, so it doesn't let you just go wild with like different genres and stuff like that, right? Because like, for example, like Bar of the Deep was a game jam project, but it was for the Yuri game jam. And it gave you like a month or 2 months basically for your project, so it's like, oh, that's a lot of time and stuff like that, right? It's not.
No.
It's not. Eh, Listen, the moment you're like, I'm gonna start making a game, everything will happen. Everything will happen. Everything will
Oh,
go
no.
to shit. Everything. And it'll be like the last week of the jam, and you'll have to do everything in a week. So it's like, oh, 2 months to do the jam. Awesome. I have so much time. I have a week left.
And also, don't join a game jam if you're in school.
I mean, you can join game jams, but again, I feel like if you're gonna join a game jam, like, it definitely shouldn't be something that you join with like complete zero experience. Maybe something you could do is join a game jam like with a group, you know? Because that'll definitely help you learn a lot. And for example, if you like, there's like a game jam that's like, and you see someone that's like, either the game jams for like visual novels, because there's some game jams that are dedicated to visual novels, right? Or you see someone in just a general game jam, right? Being like, hey, I'm making a visual novel and I'm looking for this or that, and you are able to do that thing already, I definitely recommend like applying to that thing and see if you can join that team, because that way you're doing something that you're comfortable with. Oftentimes it's not your story, so if you're the artist, you just have to draw the characters, and they're characters that you haven't created, so you're not really that attached to them, you know? So it's like, it feels less personal if things start to go bad, you know? Like if you start to hate some aspect of what you're making, like it feels a lot less personal, because it's more so you're hating an aspect of like the product instead of like the idea, you know? That's like my biggest thing. Like if you want to do a game jam for your first game, probably join a group. Like get with a group of people, either a group of friends or a group of strangers, I don't know, however out there you feel like going. Game jam people
Game jams
tend to
are the
be very
ones
nice.
where you have like time limit and word limit and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
Game jams typically are like, for example, like a weekend. Like you have like 2 days to make the game.
a weekend.
Yeah. But there are game jams that are a little bit more lax and give you like a couple months. There's some game jams that are more so less about making game and more like, if you have a game and you want to get it to more so more people see it, you can just submit the game to that jam. Like there's one game jam that's called Women's Fest, I believe, and they're very lenient. They're like, as long as the game was published, like for example for this year, for like the 2025 Women's Fest game jam, like you didn't have to make a game dedicated to the game jam. Like if you had a game that was published or updated in January 2024 at the like earliest or latest, I think that's the word, I don't know which one. Basically like if you had a game like that was updated or published after January, like 1st of January 2024, you could submit that game to the game jam and it would be accepted. And the ones that tend to be so lenient is because there's no prizes. Like you don't get anything from submitting the game, you know? Like what you get is people like seeing the game submission and like being more likely to then play your game because it's in a more accessible area for you to do so.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for example, Spooktober, that game jam is a month long, I believe. It starts at the 1st of September and it runs like all of September, and that's the creation period. And that one you do have to make the game during September. And it has to be horror, and it has to be during September. And I believe it has to also be a visual novel. I believe Spooktober is specifically for visual novels. Like I think it's, or at least it was like only visual novels. They might have been more lenient. I haven't checked this year's submissions yet. I have to, because I want to get some games to stream later. But
yeah, participating?
No, I did not participate this year because I was busy.
There.
I was like, I might participate next year if I've got the time. Because they have some leniency on what you can create before the jam starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, I believe it's like, for example, like you can like design the characters and sort of like have an idea for the story of the game before the jam starts, but like the actual like character sprites, like the story itself, writing and stuff like that, all of that does have to happen during the jam period. Like you can't start the character sprites like before September.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you're kind of playing on an honor code, unless you're stupid and you posted the character sprites before September, and then like the judges are like, scratch his head like, hey buddy, you literally posted the character sprites you're using in your game like 2 months ago, be serious.
Yeah.
But yeah, since it's a lot of like honor code with game jams and stuff like that, because you're being trusted that you are in fact creating a game in the time that is stated in the rules and stuff like that, then like, again, that's why I'm like, if you join a group, it tends to go well, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen like a YouTube video that's like, my horror story time, my experience with my strangers game jam group. Oh my god, you won't believe what happened. You know, like I haven't seen story times like those, so I think overall it's a pretty chill community, and it's also because like if you're a game dev, you kind of end up knowing everybody. So if you fuck up, you're a terrible person, everybody's going to fucking know your name. They're like, you're like, oh, you're the dude that was a terrible person. Get the fuck away from me. Kind of like the same was like just like tight-knit communities overall though, honestly. Like art communities and stuff like that overall, it's like, this is kind of like, if you know a guy, you probably know everybody. Yeah, those are like I guess those are like the main stuff I can say. Just don't overcomplicate yourself. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself and your characters. Because otherwise you might start looking at your characters and kind of being like, if I look at you too long, I start crying because I kind of hate you now. Because this was so stressful and now I associate you with bad times and I can't look at you anymore. Yeah. Just don't become sushi.
Thank you.
Become sushi.
The last like was super ominous. I thought that was a subliminal message to me, like, oh, I'm gonna kill you.
No, what? No, nothing bad is gonna happen when stream ends. No, no one has
super
to
convincing. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. See, guys, I'm a good little star. I totally will not turn Jade into sushi after stream is over, or turn Sepher into glue. Don't worry about that.
Into glue?
It's a glue.
Well, I mean, I guess I can also turn you into fish sticks.
Just my
No.
tail though.
Oh yeah, I turned your tail into fish sticks and then the rest of you into glue.
What the fuck?
Wow.
You know, variety. I have options.
Nothing goes to waste.
Exactly. You have any like further stuff you wanna ask? Either of you?
I'm good personally.
Yeah, I'm too. I think that's all. It was super interesting.
Yeah. I also did this entire presentation. I had like the idea presentation. I was like, oh yeah, I had this whole thing like planned out like the start of the month. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get on that. Yeah, I'm gonna get on that. And then it was like a couple days ago. I'm like, I should really get on that. And then I forgot to put the publishing slide in. So you know, as you do. I literally had the index there. I could have checked. I was like, I looked at the index and I was like, ah, yeah, the last thing, right? Like important things to note. And apparently I just completely missed the part that I wrote for publishing as a slide. I was like, oh. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, if that's all, I'll give a little rundown of tomorrow's streams and then we'll wrap up here. Let's see, tomorrow at 4 p.m. CEST. Oh my god, it's with you and Zephyr and Beru. We're playing Red Bull. Hey, we're playing Red Bull. And then at 10 p.m. that same day tomorrow, it's with you two and we're doing art and chatting. I have to send you guys the magma board tomorrow when I do it. That's fine. I can take my time with that one as long as it's available by the time we start the stream. It's fine. I just have to set it up. I will set it up with time though, so that you guys have time to like make your accounts and stuff like that. So.
Oh, I already have one.
Oh, awesome. Well, for Zephyr. But yeah. So with that all that said, I don't think we have anything more to say, right?
Thank you so much.
Yay.
Thank you.
Anything you wanna, I don't know, bring up on stream, Jade? You wanna like, I don't know, promo, something like that? You wanna make a message?
I am in jail right now. I have nothing to promote. Like, no, not really. Thank you.
Yeah. What about you, Zephyr? You got anything?
Soon I might be able to actually for real get to streaming.
Yippee!
Ooh.
The computer will be replaced.
Yippee!
Okay. Then, having said all that, thank you for coming. If you like, subscribe, all that stuff. You've been on YouTube, you know how it works. And I will see you guys next time. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.